ഒരു സെക്കൻഡ്, എത്ര കുട്ടികൾ ഉണ്ടാവും, ആരൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടാവും എന്നുള്ളതൊന്ന് പറയാൻ പറ്റുമോ?
ഓക്കെ ഓക്കെ. കിട്ടുന്നുണ്ട് സാറ്. ഇൻ്റർനാഷണൽ ഫിസിക്കൽ ഓഷനോഗ്രാഫി സാറിന് സംസാരിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഓക്കെ.
ഓക്കെ, കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ? ക്യാൻ യു ഹിയർ മീ? ഹലോ, കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ?
കേട്ടോ.
ഓക്കെ ഓക്കെ, ശരി ശരി.
തൽക്കാലം പോസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാം. Hello. Warm good morning to all of you. Let us begin with the prayers to Almighty. So the Department of Zoology, Marathonicious College is organizing this Marine Ecology webinar series. This is the third day. And the first 2 days, we had sessions on marine phytoplankton and the world of marine zooplankton. And today, we'll be having a lecture on an introduction to physical oceanography by an eminent person from Cochin University of Science and Technology, Dr. B. Vijit. He's an assistant professor, the Department of Physical Oceanography. And on behalf of Marathonicious College and Department of Zoology, I welcome Dr. Vijit to handle the session. I also welcome all the participants, students and research scholars from other sister institutions and other state. I welcome you all. Have a great day with this wonderful session. Once again, I welcome you all, and I invite Dr. Vijit to start the session. Please, sir.
Thank you, Selvan sir. So I will go to my presentation first. Okay, can you all see my slides?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so first of all, I would like to thank Selvan sir and the Department of Zoology, Marathonicious College for inviting me to this marine ecology webinar series. Okay, I understand that you have had 2 days of session. Okay, and I still have 50 members attending this online webinar. Okay, so it means that the program is a huge success. Okay, so I was, this is for BSc Zoology students, but now I understand that there are participants from outside the state. Okay, so I will use, mostly I will speak in English, but I will also use Malayalam in between. Okay, so that I keep you guys engaged. Okay, so is there any objections on the use of language? Issues?
No, sir.
Okay. So this being 1.5 hours of talk, I would like your participation also in this talk. Okay, so I might ask some questions, but I can't see you, so I wish I would be able to hear your voices in between. Okay, so if you want to stop me in between, I don't mind. Okay, you can stop me at any time within the talk. Okay, and interrupt me and ask whatever questions you have. Okay, please feel free to do that. Okay, so I have, I hope this slide is clear to you. I will be talking on introduction to physical oceanography. Okay, so as Dr. Selvan introduced, I am based in physical oceanography department in Cochin University of Science and Technology. Okay, so what is oceanography? Okay, so oceanography is a study of scientific study of the oceans. Okay, so it can be divided into different branches. So there is a stream of oceanography that deals with the biology of the ocean. Okay, so biology in general, it deals with the zoology as well. Okay, so there are animals in the ocean. Okay, the fishes. Then there are zooplanktons, phytoplanktons. Okay, so it deals with biological oceanography, and the people who deal with the biological oceanography, they are known as biological oceanographers. They study the biological aspects of the ocean. Okay, then there is chemistry, geology, and physical. Okay, so chemical oceanographers. Okay, people who handles chemistry, they deal with the chemical components like different metals, dissolved ions, okay, the solubility, the pollution arising from different chemical components, etc. Okay, and geologists, they deals with the rock that is under the water column, okay, the minerals in that, okay, and all those aspects. And physical oceanographers, okay, so physics people. When I say physics, okay, can you name a few physical properties in the ocean? Physical properties, what comes to your mind when I say physical properties? Can I have some response? Or should I continue? Yes. Okay, so physical properties, some examples of physical properties are temperature, salinity, okay, conductivity, density, velocity. Okay, so there is flow. Okay, so density, as you know, is mass per unit volume. It is determined by the temperature and salinity of the water. Okay, there is flow. There are ocean currents. Okay, there is flow, and that results in velocity for the ocean. There are waves in the ocean. Okay, so waves are another type of physical movements. Okay, so it's a movement, but you can call it as waves. There is pressure. Okay, you go deep into the ocean, the pressure increases. Okay, so there is pressure effects. There is heat being stored in the ocean. Okay, so that is another physical property of the ocean, and there are several such physical properties. Okay, so as physical oceanographers, what they do is they try to measure the physical properties of the ocean. Okay, and then they also try to simulate or try to forecast. Forecast എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അറിയുന്നുണ്ടാവും. Okay, so you forecast the rainfall. Okay, അതേപോലെ ഇപ്പം ഓഷ്യൻ സ്റ്റേറ്റ് ഫോർകാസ്റ്റ് അവൈലബിൾ. ഓഷ്യൻ സ്റ്റേറ്റ് ഫോർകാസ്റ്റ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ വേവ്. ഇപ്പൊ നിങ്ങൾ യു ലിസൺ ടു റേഡിയോ അല്ലെ, ഒക്കേഷനിൽ നിങ്ങൾ റേഡിയോയിലെ റിസൾട്ട് പിന്നെ കേൾക്കുമ്പം റേഡിയോയിൽ അനൗൺസ്മെന്റ്സ് ഉണ്ടാവും. കാറ്റും കോളും ഉള്ളത് കൊണ്ട് യു ഷുഡ് നോട്ട് ഗോ ഇൻ ടു ദ ഓഷ്യൻ ഫോർ ഫിഷറീസ്. ഇപ്പം മീൻപിടുത്തക്കാർ ശ്രദ്ധിക്കേണ്ടതാണ്. ദർ ഈസ് നല്ല വേവ് ആക്ടിവിറ്റി ഉണ്ട്, അപ്പൊ അതുകൊണ്ട് നിങ്ങൾ കടലിൽ പോകാൻ പാടില്ല മീൻപിടുത്തക്കാരെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ള അനൗൺസ്മെന്റുകൾ നിങ്ങൾ കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. ഓക്കെ, സോ സച്ച് ഫോർകാസ്റ്റ്, they are known as ocean state forecast. Okay, so they are based on forecasts of physical properties of the ocean. Okay, so why do we need to study physical oceanography? എന്തിനാണ് നമ്മൾ ഫിസിക്കൽ ഓഷനോഗ്രാഫി എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ഒരു സബ്ജക്ട് പഠിക്കുന്നത്? നിങ്ങൾ സുവോളജി പഠിക്കുന്നു, or you are doing something else, and there has to be a purpose. അതൊക്കെ പഠിക്കുന്നതിന് ഒരു പർപ്പസ് വേണം. Okay, and why do we need to study physical oceanography? Okay, So the most important purpose of studying physical oceanography is related to the weather and climate. The നേരത്തെ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ wave forecast. It is wave. It's related to the weather, day-to-day weather of the ocean. Okay, so you need to forecast the day-to-day weather and climate. Okay, so there is long-term climate. The climate എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ocean is it can store heat. The excess heat, excess carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is dissolved into the oxygen and into the oceans. Okay, so we talk about carbon dioxide emissions. So our emitting carbon dioxide is some part of this carbon dioxide is stored in the oceans. Okay, so that way it helps maintain our climate. So ocean stores heat, it stores excess gases in the atmosphere. Okay, so that way it helps to maintain optimal climate. Okay, അതേപോലെ തന്നെ distribution of rainfall because the source of moisture, water vapor that supplies the cloud formation help in moisture content. It comes from the oceans. Most of the moisture content comes from the oceans. Okay, so if you don't get rains, you have droughts and floods. Okay, that is also determined by the sea surface temperature. Samudra uparithala tapanila ennaanu paraya. Okay, samudra uparithala tapanila. So sea surface temperature, if sea surface temperature is high, then there is evaporation. Okay, so evaporation pumps up moisture. Okay, and it helps in the formation of rainfall. Okay, then there is development of storms or cyclones. നിങ്ങളെല്ലാം ന്യൂസിലൊക്കെ കേൾക്കുന്നതാണ് ന്യൂനമർദ്ദം. Okay, so there is a depression. ന്യൂനമർദ്ദം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ it is depression. Okay, low pressure. Okay, so low pressure forms over the Bay of Bengal. അതാണ് നമ്മൾ സാധാരണ കേൾക്കുന്നത്. Okay, അപ്പം the depressions are some miniature forms of cyclones. Okay, so depression intensifies ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് cyclones ഉണ്ടാകുന്നത്. So the cyclones also forms in the oceans. Okay, so cyclones are known with different names. It is known as hurricanes. It is also known as typhoons. So typhoons are depending on the location of its formation, different people call it by different names. Okay, so cyclones, rainfalls, drought, fishery. Okay, അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ പിന്നെ the most important purpose നമ്മളെപ്പോഴും കടലെന്ന് നമ്മൾ ആലോചിക്കുമ്പം we think about the fish, like different cuisines of fish that is served to us. അതാണ് നമ്മൾ എപ്പോഴും ആലോചിക്കുന്നത്. Okay, fish fry, fish curry. Okay, so it is also related to our food. Okay, then you go to the beach for recreation. Okay, നമ്മൾ ബീച്ചിൽ we go for surfing, fishing, diving. Okay, so it is also related to tourism. Okay, so you need to maintain the oceans. If you need to maintain the oceans and the coastal regions, you need to study about them. Okay, then there is navigation and transportation. Okay, so there is companies, big companies, they transport their goods across countries in ships, on board ships, okay, across the oceans. You can see if you go to the port of Chennai, and if you go to the ports of Chennai or in Cochin, okay, you can see that different goods are being transported. So in Cochin, earlier days, it used to be transportation of spices. Okay, നമ്മുടെ spices ആയിരുന്നു അധികം ട്രാൻസ്പോർട്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ളത്. Nowadays they transport different items. But ചെന്നൈയിലൊക്കെ പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞ് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ you can see that they transport cars, okay, 4-wheelers manufactured in Chennai, and they transport it to different other countries on board ships. Okay, then there is coastal engineering aspect. Okay, coastal engineering എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ you guys must be familiar with the constructions in some of these islands, artificial islands being constructed. Like ദുബായിലൊക്കെ ഉണ്ട് Palm Island. Okay, relatives, if your relatives are in Dubai, when you visit them, they take you to this place called Palm Island. It is an artificial island. Okay, artificial island. So when you construct artificial islands, they dump sediments or sand from the land into the ocean. Okay, നമ്മൾ അവിടെ ഒരു ഐലൻഡ് കൺസ്ട്രക്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് പിന്നെ നമ്മൾ അവിടെ പോയി when you dump the sand, it has to remain there. The ocean flow should not take it away. Like കടലിന്റെ ആ ഒഴുക്കും and the waves should not erode it. So you need to learn about the ambient surroundings. Only then you will be able to maintain any construction. Okay, coastal engineering. In Cochin, coastal erosion is a problem. Okay, so not only in Cochin, Kerala, pala coastal erosion is a very problem. Okay, so they dump materials so that they can protect the coast. Okay, so coastal engineering is an important aspect. Okay, so you need to do any engineering. Engineering in big constructions. Okay, so if you want to construct something, you need to be aware of the ocean's oceanic properties. Okay, then there is energy. Okay, wave energy and people try to obtain electricity from waves. Okay, so there are numerous applications of physical oceanography. If you want to obtain wave energy, you need to know about the wave height. Okay, there is energy being derived from tides. Tide നമ്മൾ കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ എനിക്കറിയില്ല. Okay, tide means the synchronous movement of the water level. Okay, വേലിയേറ്റം വേലിയിറക്കം എന്നൊക്കെയാണ് മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയുന്നത്. Okay, so tides also are used to extract electrical energy. Okay, അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ there are different applications of ocean. Okay, and if you want to apply them efficiently, then you need to know about physical oceanography. Okay, then you need to conserve the ocean. അല്ലെ, നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ അതിൽ ഒരുപാട് extinct species ഉണ്ട്. Okay, wide variety and it is rich ecosystem. Like ecosystem, you're familiar with that word, ecosystem. You need to preserve this ecosystem. And if you want to preserve this ecosystem, you need to learn. You need to understand how the ecosystem works. Okay, and physical oceanography is a part of understanding this ecosystem. The temperature increasing. Okay, ocean temperature increasing, and you need to understand how the temperature increases. Okay, only then you will be able to study how the species, different organisms, how they adapt to this change or how they adapt to this increase in temperature. Okay, so there are a wide variety of applications to physical oceanography. Any questions?
What's the exam question?
Okay, I understand that I can continue. Okay. Okay. So, how did the study of physical oceanography begin? One of my first agenda of this talk is to describe how a systematic study of the oceans began. Okay, so people wanted to travel from place to place. In earlier times, they wanted to travel from place to place. And in some places, it was a taboo to travel. It was abandoned. Okay, earlier times. Okay, I'm not talking about recent history. I'm talking about earlier times, 4000 BC or even years before that, before Christ. Okay, 4000 years before Christ. So those times, traveling was banned. Traveling across the sea was banned. It was considered to be against the laws of the nature of God. Okay, but people, they were interested in trading. Okay, they wanted to transport their spices. They wanted to look for slaves. Okay, easy laborers. So there were some. These are some of the things that prompted navigators to travel across the oceans. The earlier traveler എന്ന് പറയുന്ന Polynesians എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു category of people. Okay. Polynesians എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ അവർ they were in somewhere in the middle of Pacific. Okay. Pacific Ocean മിഡിലുള്ള ഏതോ ഐലൻഡിലായിരുന്നു Polynesians. Okay. So they were the first navigators who crossed the oceans, who traveled across the oceans. Okay, so there were evidence. So this picture that I am showing you here is an artistic representation of Polynesians. Okay, they are sailing across one of their island. Then one of the frequent traders were Arabs. Okay, they had the knowledge that the winds in the Arabian Sea change its direction when the government of monsoon winds. Okay, so they had this knowledge that the winds reverse, currents change its direction. Okay, so they can use the change in the wind, okay, and adjust their fans so that they can trade. Okay, so they had this so they can adjust the fans, and then they can change the direction. They can travel from India, travel towards India and China from Arab countries. Okay, as far as India is concerned, we had a southern peninsular king known as Chera. Okay, even Kerala and some part of Tamil Nadu was also ruled by this Chera king. Okay, when during his times he had ships being sailed to island nations such as Indonesia and Malaysia. Okay, there were so even during last 4,000 years, there are evidences that such voyages, that these travels, they are known as voyages. Okay, voyages of discovery. Okay, so these voyages were reported even during 4,000 years ago. Okay, so what happens when these people travel? Okay, they are traveling. So I said they travel from Arabia, the Arab countries, to India and to China. So what happens when they travel? When they travel, they started reporting the incidents on a book known as pilots. Okay, they had a book, logbook of activities, diary called Sadhan. Okay, and they started reporting all these events. Okay, so they said when we traveled, okay, they did not have GPS. You can use Google Maps to identify your location. Okay, so those were periods when they had to look at the position of stars and planets to identify their location. So then these guys were sailing. They noted down the positions. Okay, and then they said, okay, the sea is very rough. Okay, okay, so they noted down in their books known as pilot books. Okay, so sea is rough when the star is on this side on this particular day. Okay, at this location. Okay, so the location of the map not like using any GPS. They had to identify the location based on the position of planets and stars. Okay, so earlier travelers were Christopher Columbus. Okay, so Christopher Columbus, he sailed from Spain, Portuguese, I don't remember exact country, towards the West Indian region. Okay, then there is Vasco da Gama, okay, who traveled from, so it was Cameron Diaz who initially traveled from Portugal till the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa. Okay, and then Vasco da Gama took the voyage and continued to the port of Calicut. Okay, so there was Ferdinand Magellan who crossed the ocean, okay, who went all over the earth, crossed to different oceans. It took decades. It took years, okay, to travel from place to place. Now you can just board a flight from Calicut, land wherever you want, or Cochin and land wherever you want. Okay. So now those were times they had okay, so they had ships with fans, and they had to adjust the fans to move in the direction. So whenever they were traveling, they reported all the, some people even reported the temperature. Okay, they knew how to measure temperature. Okay, and they started measuring and entering things in their log books. Okay, then as this industrialization happened, okay, we had better ships and boats, and then governments also wanted to look for spices, minerals, and slaves. Okay, different governments. So they started funding such voyages and expeditions. Okay, so they understood that നമ്മൾ കൂടുതൽ ഓഷനെ പറ്റിയും പഠിച്ചാൽ മാത്രമേ യു ക്യാൻ ട്രാവൽ എഫിഷ്യൻ്റ്ലി, യു നീഡ് ടു ട്രാവൽ എഫിഷ്യൻ്റ്ലി അല്ലെ, കുറച്ച് ഫ്യൂവൽ യൂസ് ചെയ്ത് കുറച്ച് എനർജി സ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് നമ്മൾ ട്രാവൽ ചെയ്യണമെങ്കിൽ മാത്രമേ യു വിൽ ബി ഏബിൾ ടു മേക്ക് ഫോർച്യൂൺസ് അല്ലെ, നമുക്ക് ലാഭം ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ എന്നുള്ളൊരു അണ്ടർസ്റ്റാൻഡിങ് was there among different European governments, Western governments. Okay, so they started funding expeditions which will collect data from the ocean, try to understand. Okay, and one of the earlier expedition is HMS Challenger expedition. Okay, it extended for 4 years, went around the Atlantic, collected data. Some part of the southern Indian Ocean, went into Pacific, collected huge amount of data. Okay, it took 50 volumes of books to publish this data. Okay, physics, chemistry, biology, a lot of information was gathered and published in around 50 volume book volume published. Okay, HMS, that was HMS Challenger expedition. So as a zoologist, you must be familiar with HMS Beagle experiment, Beagle, if I don't know exact pronunciation. So as zoologists, you should be familiar with the Beagle, HMS Beagle expedition. It was that one on which Charles Darwin sailed. Okay, so I don't have a picture of that here. Okay, then there was Meteor expedition, 1925. Okay, so as the times evolved, they had so these are tracks. Okay, the lines in the oceans, these are tracks where the ships went. Okay, so സമയം ഇങ്ങനെ പ്രോഗ്രസ് ചെയ്തോടുകൂടി as technology evolved, they started collecting more and more measurements. Okay, I will show you how measurements are collected in one of the later slides. Okay, so there was Atlantis expedition. So these are all measurements collected from ships. So എല്ലാവരും ഷിപ്പിൽ പോകും, they collect, they have some peculiar instruments to collect water. Okay, they had nettual, okay, fishing net, zooplankton nets. So they collect different fishes, they collect different zooplankton, they collect different water samples, analyze for the chemistry, temperature, salinity, okay, density, and all these different properties. Okay, so this, as time evolved, there are numerous measurements coming from these expeditions. Okay, so this is one of the recent expedition, 1962 to 65. Okay, it was known as International Indian Ocean Expedition. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so it is known as International Indian Ocean Expedition, and in which 36 ships from 13 countries, USA, UK, India, and Russia, and Japan, and different ഒരുപാട് രാജ്യങ്ങളിൽ നിന്നുള്ള ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് ഷിപ്സും ഒരുപാട് സയൻറ്റിസ്റ്റുമാരും ഒരുപാട് sailors എല്ലാവരും കൂടി ചേർന്നിട്ടാണ് they collected lot of information, and these tracks are the shipping tracks. Okay, and it is believed that International Indian Ocean Expedition, it marked the beginning of modern oceanography in the country. Okay, നമ്മുടെ രാജ്യത്തെ ഓഷനോഗ്രാഫി പോലുള്ള പഠനങ്ങൾക്ക് ഒരു beginning. Even the School of Marine Science, ഞങ്ങളുടെ ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റ് ബേസ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്ന School of Marine Science was first formed during this period. Okay, International Indian Ocean Expedition സമയത്ത് കളക്ട് ചെയ്ത സാമ്പിൾസ് സ്റ്റോർ ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് this center was first opened. Okay, Center School of Marine Science. It was not named as School of Marine Science then, but it had a different name. Okay, so nowadays there are a lot of different ways of collecting ocean data. Okay, so there are satellites, remote sensing satellites. So there are satellites that can map the temperature from height. Okay, it can measure the temperature from a height, temperature of ocean. It can measure the color of the ocean. It can measure even salinity. Okay, അങ്ങനെ ഒരുപാട് കാര്യങ്ങൾ there are satellites. Okay, there are aeroplanes. Okay, there are aeroplanes which will which has got radar kind of instruments, and they can be used to map all these properties of the ocean. Okay, and there are ships. Of course, there are ships. There are autonomous instruments. അതായത് robotic kind of instruments. നമ്മൾ കടലിൽ പോയിട്ട് you just drop this instrument. The instrument will collect information, record it in a memory card. Okay, so advanced. Memory card la store it. Okay, it has sensors, temperature sensor, salinity sensors, conductivity sensors. So it has advanced, very accurate, very precise sensors, which will collect information, and then it will store in the memory card. Okay, so once it comes back, you can either retrieve it back, and then you can collect the data. Okay, there are moored buoys. Buoy എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഫ്ലോട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന സാധനങ്ങളെയാണ് buoy എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. Okay, so if you are ഫിഷർമെനുമായിട്ട് അസോസിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ആൾക്കാരുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ they call it as ബൂയ. മലയാളത്തിൽ ബൂയ എന്നാണ് പറയുക. So it is in English it is buoys. Okay, so there are buoys, fixed buoys. They will be anchored to the ocean bottom. Okay, there are instruments attached to the buoy, floating buoy. The buoy will be powered with solar panels. Okay, and all these instruments are collecting data in real time, and then they are transmitting the data to stations. Okay, so I will stop here, and then I will play a video. Okay, a video എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ that video was taken while we were on a ship. ഞങ്ങൾ ഒരു ഷിപ്പിൽ വർക്ക് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരുന്നപ്പോൾ എടുത്തൊരു വീഡിയോ ഉണ്ട്. Okay, so I will try to play the video. I hope you will be able to see it. Okay, കാണാൻ പറ്റുന്നുണ്ടോ? Can you see this?
Yes, sir, we can see.
Okay, this is one of the expedition where I was present. Okay, so this expedition was on a ship named as Sindhu Sadhana. So Sindhu Sadhana എന്നാണ് ആ ഷിപ്പിന്റെ പേര്. Okay, and we were somewhere in the southern Bay of Bengal. നമ്മൾ ബംഗാൾ ഉൾക്കടൽ എന്നാണ് പറയാ. Okay, so Bengal ഉൾക്കടലിന്റെ somewhere in the southern part. Okay, so this video is prepared after the CTD operation is after the instrument comes back. Okay, we will lower the instrument to about 1,000, 2,000 meters of depth. Okay, we get the samples back. Okay, then people collect the water samples. Okay, and then they take it to the chemistry labs in different bottles, and then they analyze the samples there. Okay. They will do different type of analysis. Okay, so this is one such autonomous robot kind of thing. Okay, these are known as gliders. Okay, so gliders. So there are instruments, salinity at different depths. Okay, so even so these activities, I want to say that these activities are not only restricted to men. Okay, so there were women on board. Okay, so this was Alejandra. She was from UK. She was also there with us. Okay, so this is a radio sound balloon. Okay, so it measures the atmospheric parameters. The ocean variability measurement. This was for measuring the atmospheric parameters. Okay, so they attach an instrument to the bottom of this is the instrument, a small thing. Okay, it is attached to the bottom of the balloon, and the balloon is left. Okay, so when it goes into the air, it measures and it sends data to the station on board. Okay, So that's from the balloon part. Okay, so I have some photograph and the balloon goes up into the air, sending us data to the station on board the ship. Okay, so we can also see dolphins. Okay, so there were a few dolphins on which we could photograph. Okay, so I'm only one or two of them, but there were 20 to 30 of them which were surrounding us, our ship, and traveling along with us most of the time. Okay? Not always, but sometimes. This is some other instrument of the profiler. Okay, so that is myself throwing the instrument. Okay, so the different instruments are operated in different ways. Okay, so I have my colleague. Okay, so she's my colleague from Indian Institute of Science, Tushara. Okay, and this was our chief scientist, Professor Vinay Chandran from Bangalore. Okay, and then there was others from NCPOR, the National Polar Center. Okay, I will quickly go through some of these pictures. Okay, so we have different instruments, not only one instrument, we have different instruments. These instruments are operated in different ways. Okay, so that is the guy who prepared this video for me, okay, the guy in white Bermuda. Okay, so these are drifter buoys. Okay, so this is known as drifter buoys. Okay, this is another instrument. It has a buoy. Okay, it is also floating. You don't recover it. You just throw it in the water. It will send the data to the satellite. Okay, we don't recover it. It is autonomous. Okay, so there are hundreds of about 100 people living on this ship, helping. Some of us are busy in measuring the oceans. Some are busy in maintaining the ships. Okay, so there was another flight. Okay, this is the automated weather station. Okay, so there was a flight observation also alongside this ship-based observation. Okay, so the flight was making measurements of the atmosphere while we were making measurements of the ocean. Okay, so the flight also traveled to our location, made measurements. Okay, so this was a huge crores of rupees were spent on making these. So there was you want to make 1 day of measurement in ship. This ship was charging us 15 lakhs. ഈ ഷിപ്പിന്റെ ഒരു ദിവസത്തെ rent and maintenance was about 15 lakhs of rupees for 1 day. Okay, so it requires huge amount of government funds to make measurement. And occasionally the sea gets very rough and choppy. Okay, and there are incidents such as this. Okay, so one of the person on the ship got
Hello, Vijay sir. Yeah, I think I had some network issues.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Yeah, it is okay.
Okay, Selvan sir, എവിടം വരെ കേട്ടു എന്നറിയോ?
Sir, ഒരു 1 minute lag.
നിങ്ങൾ ആ വീഡിയോസ് കണ്ടിരുന്നോ? Are you able to see the videos?
Yes, yes. Flight പറഞ്ഞു നിർത്തി കേട്ടോ.
Okay, flight. Okay, so I think that's what I wanted to talk about that video. So there were different instruments, different people from different backgrounds. Okay, so it was not only physical oceanographers that were on board. It was different people. There were zoologists, there were chemists, there were geologists, there were atmospheric scientists, there were mathematicians. Okay, there were engineers. A lot of people were on board in this expedition. It is not only physical oceanographers who make these kind of observations. These observations are made by different people from different backgrounds. Okay, so can I take some questions? Doubts and anything? Some of the students. So what I do is classes nowadays. I take classes online. Okay, so what I do is I call somebody by their name and then ask how you feel. Okay, what do you have in mind? Should I do that? Okay, ആർക്കെങ്കിലും എന്തെങ്കിലും ചോദിക്കാനുണ്ടോ? Okay, so Selvan sir, shall I continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll continue. I'll upload the presentation again and then I will continue. Okay, I hope you can see the slides now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so this is a map of the world, a world map, which you can see in your textbook. Okay, so there are these are the different oceans. Okay, so there is Pacific, there is Atlantic, there is Indian Ocean. Okay, so there is Pacific Ocean on the other side. So, okay, these are the three main oceans. Okay, Indian Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, and the Pacific Ocean. Okay, so Indian Ocean is surrounding the Indian subcontinent, some parts of Africa and Australia. Okay, so Atlantic is where most of the European countries are located. Okay, the east coast of USA and Canada, okay, Mexico, some South American parts, okay, Brazil and Chile, okay, and the west coast of Africa. Okay, so that is Atlantic, and then there is Greenland in the north. Pacific is the biggest one. Okay, the west coast of United States, okay, Mexico and Canada. Okay, so South American countries. Then there is Japan, China, okay, on one side, and then the east coast of Australia. So that is the biggest one. Okay, you see that there are islands also. So Polynesia, which I showed earlier, is somewhere here, Polynesian islands. Okay, so I was still Indians used to sail, Cheras used to sail from this part to the Malaysia and Indonesia regions. Okay, somewhere here. Then there is Arctic and Antarctica. If Antarctica is basically a land, and there is Southern Ocean. So this region is known as the Southern Ocean. Okay, so there is Southern Ocean and Arctic Ocean. Basically, there are 5 different oceans. This is again a similar map, but with some colors. What represent? എന്താണ് color എന്താണ് signify ചെയ്യുന്നത്? The red color indicates the height. Okay, so the colors indicate the height or the depth of the topography. Okay, you can see that the blue, the deep blue indicates the deeper parts and the light blue indicates the lighter part. Okay, so you can see that ocean is not flat. Ocean atra flat onnulla. There are structures. Okay, so there are these some kind of ridges. Ridges are small mountain ranges. Okay, so these are ridges. There are region that goes from Indian Ocean all the way into the Atlantic and the northern part of Atlantic. Okay, so the ocean is not flat. It has ridges, it has mountains, it has islands, it has trenches. Okay, it's a flat ocean. Okay, so if you look at the dimensions, okay, the Pacific Ocean occupies about 50% of the surface area. അതായത് നമ്മൾ അറ്റ്ലാന്റിക്കിനെയും ആർട്ടിക്കിനെയും ഒഴിവാക്കി കഴിഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, or if you merge the Arctic and Atlantic into the Antarctic Southern Ocean and Arctic merge the respective oceans, 50% of the surface area occupied by the Pacific. Okay, so Pacific is the largest ocean. The total surface area of the ocean is about 360 million kilometers square. Okay, about half of it are occupied by Pacific. 30% is by Atlantic. Okay, so this is Atlantic and that is Pacific. So Pacific is half the globe. Okay, so this is one side of the globe and this is the other side of the globe. Okay, so Pacific is half the globe, 30% is Atlantic, and Indian Ocean is only 20%. Okay, and you look at the distance. Okay, this distance of the Indian Ocean is about 10,000 kilometers. Okay, and Arabian Sea, this is Arabian Sea. Okay, there. Okay, Arabian Kadal, Arabic Kadal, no, it is Arabian Sea. Okay, that's about 2,000 kilometers. And average depth of the ocean is 3.7 kilometers. അതായത് നമ്മൾ അതിന്റെ ഡെപ്ത് ഒരു ആവറേജ് ഡെപ്ത്, ഓക്കെ, 3.7 kilometers. So you can imagine 3.7 kilometers. How long is 3.7 kilometers? So you think about the distance of this. Okay, so some of you might be 4 kilometers. നിങ്ങളുടെ വീട് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് നിങ്ങളുടെ കോളേജിൽ നിന്ന് ഒരു 4 kilometer ദൂരമാണെങ്കിൽ അത്രയും ഡീപ്പാണ് ആവറേജ് ഓഷൻ. Okay, so average ocean is 4 kilometers, 3.7 to 4 kilometers deep. Okay, so I have a schematic diagram. This is not a real picture. Okay, there is a schematic diagram. A schematic diagram of the ocean basin, ocean bottom. Okay, so there is so this is the coastline. Ningal beachil poi kayna you are somewhere here, yeah. And then you go seaward, the depth of the ocean increases. So there is a region where there is this depth is like 100 meters there. Okay, so this is like 100 meters, okay, and the depth increases very slowly. Okay, and this region is known as continental shelf. അതിനുശേഷം ഡെപ്ത് ഭയങ്കര ഡ്രാസ്റ്റിക് ആയിട്ട് ഇൻക്രീസ് ചെയ്യും. ഓക്കെ, സോ യു ഗോ 20 meters, the depth decreases by 1 meter. You go 20 kilometers, the depth decreases by 1 kilometer. Okay, so that region is known as continental slope. Okay, then there are undulations or ridges. Okay, there are sea mounts. Sometimes these sea mounts come out of the sea level. Okay, and that those features are known as islands. Okay, there are also trenches in the ocean. So how is the depth of the ocean determined? എങ്ങനെയാണ് ocean depth determine ചെയ്യുന്നതെന്ന്? It is used earlier times എങ്ങനെയാണെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ they used lead. Okay, lead എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ lead is a metal. It is a very heavy metal. It is very dense metal. Okay, so this lead is lowered to the bottom on a rope. ഒരു റോപ്പിൽ കെട്ടിയിട്ട് lead lower ചെയ്യായിരുന്നു. And then the length of the rope is measured, and that gave the depth of the ocean. Okay, nowadays people are more advanced. They use something known as echo sounding. Echo stands for sound. Okay, and sounding means measuring the depth. Okay, sounding is a term used for measuring the depth. Echo for sound. Okay, so they send sound signals. Sound waves. Sound waves travel much efficiently in water than air. നിങ്ങൾ കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. അപ്പം അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് people use sound waves to identify submarines. Okay, submarines in identify another sound waves you see. You might have seen several movies on that, submarine related movies. Okay, so people use they send sound waves. Okay, we have some estimate of rough sound velocity, which is like 1500 meter per second in the water. Okay, so sound waves travel, they hit the bottom, and then come back. There is a receiver, there is a transducer that sends the sound wave, and then there is a receiver that receives the sound wave. Okay, the time taken for travel of the sound wave is estimated, multiplied with the speed to get the depth of the ocean. That is how the depth of the ocean is measured these days. Okay, so shore is what you see when you are on the beach. Okay, it is the seaward limit of the ocean. Okay, so this is what you see when you go to the beach. Okay, when you go to the Fort Cochin or Waipin beaches, this is what you see. Okay, then there is continental shelf. Okay, so this is the continental shelf region where the depth is very shallow. Okay, depth വളരെ കുറവാണ് continental region. Continental shelf region, you go 500 meters, the depth decreases by 1 meter. Okay, and then there is the continental shelf where the depth is very deep. Okay, ഭയങ്കര slope ഇതാണ്. It is like ഒരു കുത്തനെയുള്ള ഇറക്കം പോലെ. This is like അത്ര ഷാർപ്പായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഇറക്കം പോലെയല്ല, but this is like a steep slope. Okay, so that is continental shelf. This is continental slope. Okay, there are submarine canyons. Okay, canyon എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ V-shaped valleys, canyons. Okay, there are valleys inside the ocean bottom. These are known as submarine canyons. There are submarine canyons in Indian Ocean also. Okay, Indus Valley civilization, Indus region ഒരു canyon ഉണ്ട്, and it's known as Indus Canyon in the Arabian Sea. Okay, so there are several such. I think I have a picture of the Indus Canyon. Okay, so this is the Indus River. Okay, so Indus River, it debouches its water into the Arabian Sea somewhere here. Okay, and the river has cut a canyon in the ocean, and this canyon is known as the Indus Submarine Canyon. Okay, so it's a V-shaped valley in the Arabian Sea. So again, I have shown you this picture. Okay, the mid-oceanic ridges, these are very long, okay, almost basin wide, okay, extending from the Atlantic basin to the Indian Ocean basin. Okay, so it's a very long, 84,000 kilometer long. Okay, so 84,000 kilometer long mid-oceanic ridge. Okay, there are trenches, very deep trenches. നിങ്ങൾ കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടാവും സ്റ്റീഫൻ സ്പിൽബർഗ്, അല്ല ജെയിംസ് കാമറൂൺ. Okay, he went into the deepest part with some sophisticated submarine. Okay, so there are trenches which is like Mariana Trench is like 11 kilometers deep. 11 kilometers deep. Okay, and you have to feel the pressure. Okay, and the pressure is like 11,000 times more than what we are experiencing now. Okay, we are experiencing the atmospheric pressure. Okay, if the pressure drops, you feel suffocation, and if the pressure increases, you will feel being crushed. Okay, and if the pressure drops, then there is drop in oxygen. Okay? If the pressure is more, then there is you are being pressurized. Okay, so what you are experiencing inside Mariana Trench is 11,000 times the pressure of what you are experiencing now. Okay, so you have to create special vehicles if you want to travel into these deepest parts. Okay, but the wonders of nature is that there are organisms that live at this high pressure. 11,000 kilometers, there will be no light. Okay, there will be huge pressure. Okay, and still there are organisms that survive this pressure and live in those areas. There will be no oxygen. Okay, it will be sulfide of environment there. Okay, but there are organisms that can live even at this high pressure, no oxygen or zero oxygen. sulfide rich environment. Okay, so that is what makes the nature wonderful. Okay, so this is how the pressure increases. Okay, so this is pressure in decibar. You go deeper and deeper, the pressure increases linearly. Okay, so I have a picture of CTD. Okay, this instrument which is used to measure temperature, salinity, oxygen, etc. Okay, so this is an instrument that is attached in the middle of the set of bottles which I had showed in the video. Okay, so these instruments can measure properties such as dissolved oxygen, pH, turbidity, chlorophyll. Okay, other than temperature, conductivity, and depth. Okay, we have several of these instruments in our department. Okay, so I have a picture here which shows the distribution of the sea surface temperature. Okay, so let us try to understand this picture. So I have two pictures, one for January, one for the month of January, the other for July. Okay, and then there are some color shadings. Okay, so this purple color here, it is less than 0 degrees Celsius, 0 to -2 degrees Celsius. So the temperature in these regions which has purple color is -2 degrees Celsius to 0 degrees Celsius. Okay, so there is a part of the ocean, surface temperature. I'm not talking about the deeper parts. Okay, I'm talking about the surface temperature. And the surface temperature here is 0 to -2 degrees Celsius. And the place where we live, tropical regions are, okay? I've gotten down the tropical regions, -30 to 30, -23.5 degree to +23.5 degree. Okay, അതായത് നമ്മുടെ ട്രോപ്പിക് ഓഫ് ക്യാൻസർ ഇതിന്റെ രണ്ടിലെ ഇടയിലുള്ള റീജിയൻസിനാണ് ട്രോപ്പിക്കൽ റീജിയൻസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ഉഷ്ണമേഖലാ പ്രദേശങ്ങളാണ് മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയാ. ഓക്കെ, സോ വി ആർ ഇൻ ദ ട്രോപ്പിക്കൽ റീജിയൻസ് വേർ ദ സീ സർഫസ് ടെമ്പറേച്ചർ ഈസ് വെരി ഹൈ. ഓക്കെ, നമ്മൾ ഇന്ത്യൻ ഓഷ്യൻ ആ റീജിയനൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ എടുത്ത് നോക്കിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് മച്ച് ഹയർ ദാൻ 26 degree Celsius. Okay, so if the temperature is higher than 28 degrees Celsius, there is a chance for formation of cyclones. Okay, so cyclones are more prone. Bengal cyclones. Okay, and the reason for that is the ocean in the Bay of Bengal is very warm. Okay, so and you go to northern higher latitudes. നമ്മൾ ഉത്തര എന്താ പറയാ പോളാർ റീജിയനിലേക്കും നോർത്ത് പോളിലേക്കും സൗത്ത് പോളിലേക്കും പോകുന്നതിനനുസരിച്ച് the temperature decreases. Okay, and we don't have ocean in the northern part as far as the Indian Ocean is concerned. It is locked by the land. Okay, but in the Atlantic and in the Pacific, you go into the polar regions, the temperature drops. So the temperature changes from about 30 degrees Celsius near the equator. ഭൂമധ്യരേഖയോട് ചേർന്ന സ്ഥലത്ത് ഭയങ്കര ചൂടാണ് 30 degrees Celsius, and it becomes -2 degrees Celsius in the polar region. Okay, so this is a similar picture but for surface salinity. Okay, salinity is a picture, not temperature. Salinity means how much salt is dissolved in water. Okay, so it goes from 20 to 37. 20 means the purple color is 20. Okay, 20 means you take 1 kilogram of water and add 3 grams of salt. The salinity is 20 units. Okay, you take 1 kilogram of water and add 32 grams of salt, then you get 32 units of salinity. Okay, so that's how salinity is measured. You can see that this is pressure. This is the Bay of Bengal. East coast Bay of Bengal, and the west coast is Arabian Sea. Okay, so the Arabian Sea is saltier compared to the Bay of Bengal. Okay, so Bay of Bengal has all these large rivers like Brahmaputra, Mahadi, Kaveri. All these larger rivers, they bring fresh water, and the Bay of Bengal is less saltier. Okay, they add fresh water and it is less saltier, whereas Arabian Sea is much more saltier compared to the Bay of Bengal. So the Arabian Sea is this part of the Indian Ocean, okay, and Bay of Bengal is this part of the Indian Ocean. The eastern part of the Indian Ocean is the Bengal, and the western part of the Indian Ocean is the Arabian Sea. Okay, so this is another picture, okay, of how the temperature is distributed in the vertical in the ocean. Okay, so I have three pictures, one for Pacific, one for Atlantic, and one for Indian Ocean. I will focus only on the Pacific picture. Okay, so you can notice that at the sea surface for about 200 meters. So this is the depth of the ocean. Okay, 0 to it goes up to 1,500 meters. So 0 is the surface. This is like 1.5 kilometers, 1,500 meters deep into the ocean. Okay, and this x-axis is about from 90 degrees south to 90 degrees north. Okay, so this is the southern pole and this is the northern pole. Okay, so at the surface, it is near the equator, it is more than 35 degrees Celsius. But you go deeper, you can see that by about 1 kilometer, the temperature of the ocean water is about 4 to 5 degrees Celsius. Okay, ഏതാണ്ട് 1 kilometer നമ്മൾ deep പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞ് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ തന്നെ temperature of the ocean is 5 degrees Celsius. Okay, even in equator or in pole, നിങ്ങൾ ഏത് ഓഷന്റെ ഏത് ഭാഗത്താണെങ്കിലും the temperature is like 5 degrees Celsius if you go 1,000 meters deep into the ocean. Okay, and the heat, the warm waters, it's a very small, shallow layer. Okay, there is a shallow layer of warm water. Okay, so I will stop here. I think I have about half an hour or അരമണിക്കൂർ കൂടി ഉണ്ട്. So I'm going to through this. Okay, and I will come to the waves part. Okay, so I will show some videos so that you guys won't sleep. I will show some videos. Okay, so let us look at this video. I think you can see this. Okay, so this is what you see. You are at the seaside. Okay, you can see different waves. Okay, so there are different waves in the ocean, and there are some called. Okay, so now this you are seeing different. I have another video of. Okay, so let me explain this video. This video, this is from Cochin backwater. You might have visited Marine Drive or the Subhash Park in Cochin. Okay, so this is like looking into the lake from the Subhash Park or Marine Drive. When the this is like an elapsed video, and the students on a video. What they did is they took photographs of the lake, of the estuary. This is known as estuary. Okay, they looked at the lake, and then they took photographs of the lake from a fixed frame. A fixed frame, every 15 minutes they took photographs. Okay, so they started taking photographs at about 7 o'clock in the morning. They continued it till 4 o'clock in the evening. They took photographs from a single frame. Okay, and then they merged and combined it into a video. Okay, so this is what the video. At 7 o'clock, this region, okay, had water. Okay, reading, okay, land by 12 on particular day will change. By about 12 o'clock, the water receded back, okay, exposing a lot of land. Okay, the came and then going up. And water started coming by about in the evening, came back the year. Okay, will explain. Okay, so what is this? The നമ്മൾ വേലിയിറക്കുന്ന പറയുന്നതാണ്. സോ 7 മണി അന്ന് വേലിയേറ്റ തുടങ്ങിയ സമയമായിരുന്നു ഏകദേശം ആ ദിവസം. ഓക്കെ, and സമയം ഇങ്ങനെ പോയി clocked more area and 12 മണിക്ക് ശേഷം then 12 മണിക്ക് ശേഷമാണ് വേലിയേറ്റം തുടങ്ങിയത്. Okay, earlier it was വേലിയിറക്കം and then the വേലിയേറ്റം started, high tide started, okay, and the water came back. Okay, so there are these things also. അതായത് വേലിയേറ്റവും വേലിയിറക്കവും ഉണ്ട്. Okay, on top of that there are waves. നേരത്തെ കണ്ട പോലത്തെ there are waves like this. This is what you usually see when you go to the beaches. Okay, so that there are different type of waves in the ocean. Okay, so I have this slide which shows different states of the sea state in area, different states of the sea, and different photographs. So I'm showing different states of the sea. Okay, so this is like this state of the sea is measured on a Beaufort scale, or scale in the Beaufort scale in area. Okay, so when the wind is very less than 1 knot, 1 knot, 1 mile per hour is 1 knot, 1 nautical mile per hour is 1 knot. Okay, so when the wind speed is very low, the ocean is very calm, and you will see the sea surface is like a mirror. Okay, then when the wind speed increases to 1 to 3 miles per hour, you can see centimeters of waves, some ripples. Okay, so these are like ripples. Small wind speed, you can see ripples. But 4 to 6 knots, 4 to 6 nautical miles per hour, you will see small wavelets, wave crest. Okay, but this is not, the ocean is not at all rough. Okay, 7 to 10 knots, large waves start forming. Okay, large wavelets. Okay, the wave height will be like half a meter to 1 meter at this wind speed. Okay, 11 to 16, the waves are becoming higher, 1 meter waves. Okay, 7 to 12, the wave height is like 2 to 3 meters. Okay, 20 to 27 knots, you get 3 to 4 meters of waves. Okay, 28, 23, 4 to 5 meters, you get foams in the sea surface. Foams are formed when the waves break in the ocean. Okay, so this is like the most difficult times to be spending at the ocean. Okay, so the wave height is like 7 meters. 7 meter, 7 meter is like taller than your room. നമ്മുടെ റൂമിന് ഒരു ഹൈറ്റ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ 4-5 മീറ്റർ ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ടാവുള്ളൂ അല്ലെ usually. So 7 meter means it is taller than your room. Okay, and 9 is what happens when there is cyclone. Okay, these waves, they have a height of a 2-storied building. ഒരു 2 നിലയുള്ള കെട്ടിടത്തിന്റെ അത്ര ഉണ്ടാവും the waves. You will not be able to stand straight in your ship if you are going into the ship at these times. Okay, so it's very difficult condition. So this is what happens when if you are in the sea during times of cyclones. So cyclones ഒക്കെ അടിക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത്, if you are in the sea, this is what is going to happen. Okay, it will be very rough. You will be like in Vigaland. നിങ്ങൾ മറ്റേ വിഗാലാൻഡ് പോലത്തെ അമ്യൂസ്മെന്റ് പാർക്കിൽ പോയിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ you will be like in an amusement park, pitching and rolling. Okay, you will roll over and fall down if you are in the ocean. Okay, and this is the heaviest 10 Beaufort. Okay, there are even high. So this is okay, this you only will see in pictures and movies. You will not be able to survive in there. Okay. Okay, so I will go to the last part. I will go to the last part of my talk. Okay, so there is oceans, but ocean is not a standalone standalone body. Okay, there is a big picture that is involved. Ocean interacts with the land. Okay, so there is rivers that bring the sediments from the land, deposit into the ocean. Okay, ocean evaporates, generates moisture, and the moisture goes into the land and precipitates there. Okay, so then there is sun. Sun supplies the heat energy to the ocean. Okay, so it inputs the ocean heat, but there is some part of the atmosphere that is involved. The atmosphere absorbs some energy of heat. It also takes some energy of heat from the oceans. Okay, there is human beings that also interact with the oceans. Okay, so ocean എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് നമുക്കൊരു അതിനൊരു സ്റ്റാൻഡ് അലോൺ ആയിട്ട് നമുക്ക് കൺസിഡർ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല ഓഷനെ. Okay, it interacts with the different spheres. Okay, so this interaction of the different spheres, atmosphere, ocean, lithosphere. Lithosphere is for land. Hydrosphere. Hydrosphere includes rivers, lakes, and oceans. Okay, so then there is sun, and then there is biosphere, and then there is human. Okay, so the interaction of all these things together, it is known as the climate system. Okay, so climate system എന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. So you cannot study the oceans in exclusion. അതായത് ഓഷൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്നതിന് നമ്മൾ ഒരു എക്സ്ക്ലൂഡിങ് ബോഡി ആയിട്ട് നമുക്ക് ഒരിക്കലും പഠിക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല. So we need to understand the ocean in the big picture. Okay, its interaction with the other components of the climate system. Okay, then there is human activities. Human activities is considered to be an external forcing. We are burning fossil fuel. Then we release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Okay, so this carbon dioxide is not natural. We are burning the carbon dioxide that is stored in fossil fuels. Petroleum, coalilum, okay, store ചെയ്ത് വെച്ചിരിക്കുന്ന fossil fuel ആണ് നമ്മൾ burn ചെയ്തിട്ട് carbon dioxide ആയിട്ട് release ചെയ്യുന്നത്. Okay, so these fossil fuels, when burnt, they release carbon dioxide, and the carbon dioxide increases the greenhouse effect of the atmosphere. It traps more heat, and then it warms the atmosphere. When the atmosphere warms up, it supplies heat to the ocean, and heat also warms up, okay, which changes our climate. More heat means more rainfall and things like that. But this is like how the temperature changed in over several years, over several millennia. നമ്മൾ നോക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ earlier times it was cooler. Okay, but there were temperature fluctuations, there were glaciation, there was melting of the ice in the glaciers. Okay, so the temperature was changing, okay, over the millennia. So how do people change? How do people study about the changes in temperature? Okay, so one such study in oceanography is based on benthic foraminifera. So I have this picture because I'm not an expert, but because you guys are zoologists. അപ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾ zoology പഠിക്കുന്ന കുട്ടികളായതുകൊണ്ട് I have this slide, not because I'm an expert in this. Okay, so I won't be able to answer any questions on this. Okay, so there are some organisms like foraminiferas, benthic foraminiferas. Okay, so they store climatic history in their bodies. Okay, so when they die, these foraminiferas, they settled down at the oceanic bottom. Okay, and then they store the history of the climate in the form of oxygen isotopes. Okay, so you have a different temperature, means there is a different concentration of oxygen isotope. But temperature അനുസരിച്ച് oxygen isotope in the concentration vary ചെയ്യുന്നു എന്നുള്ളൊരു assumption ആണിത്. Okay, so they die, they settle down at the oceanic bottom. So the geologists, they collect sediment cores. Okay, so they dig into the oceanic bottom. Okay, 4 kilometer വെള്ളത്തിന്റെ അടിയിലുള്ള oceanic bottomത്തിലേക്ക് അവർ dig ചെയ്യും. Then they collect something known as a sediment core. Sediment core is a cylindrical shaped core of sediment. Okay, so they cut it into different sections. Okay, and then they look at how benthic foraminase concentration of oxygen isotope in the benthic foraminifera is distributed, and then they link it back to the temperature. Okay, so this kind of studies they give us information on how the temperature changed in our climate system. Okay, but so there is anthropogenic. Anthropogenic means human induced. Anthropogenic എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ മനുഷ്യനിർമ്മിതം. Okay, so anthropogenic contribution is there. We are pumping in greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane. Okay, and it is contributing to changes in temperature of the ocean and the earth system as a whole. Okay, so physical oceanographers who deal with climate, they also run the climate change models. So this is like how the temperature will change if we continue to emit carbon dioxide the way we are doing at the moment. But നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ emit ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന പോലെ you burn fossil fuels, you burn things unnecessarily. Okay, instead of using electrical vehicles, if we still continue to use vehicles and pump carbon dioxide the way we are doing now, this is what is going to happen by 2018 and 2100. അപ്പോൾ ഇപ്പോൾ ഉള്ള ടെമ്പറേച്ചറിൽ നിന്നും ഒരു 100 വർഷം കഴിഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാലുള്ള ടെമ്പറേച്ചർ വേരിയേഷൻ ആണിത്. So you will be like in the Indian Ocean region will be like 3 to 4 degrees Celsius warmer than the present. Okay, this is what the climate models are showing. Okay, but if you continue to reduce emissions, okay, and you undertake very stringent mitigation, reduction, pollution reduction scenarios, you will have to face with 1 degree Celsius increase in temperature by 2100 AD. Okay, so what I am saying is physical oceanographers, physical oceanography work in alkar, they are also working on climate related issues. Okay, and നമ്മളിപ്പം എമിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന പോലെ നമ്മൾ കാർബൺ ഡൈ ഓക്സൈഡും ഗ്രീൻ ഹൗസ് ഗ്യാസസും മറ്റ് ഗ്രീൻ ഹൗസ് ഗ്യാസസും എല്ലാം എമിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ we will be facing 3 to 4 degrees of temperature increase by 2100 AD. But you take stringent measures, you can reduce it to 1 to 2 degrees Celsius or half degree Celsius. There is also a change in precipitation. So this picture here shows change in precipitation. Okay, no restrictions in emission means the precipitation will increase by 10 to 20% over the Indian subcontinent. Okay, but make strong actions, decrease the release of carbon dioxide, you can reduce it to say less than 10%. Okay, so I will stop here and I will give 10 minutes for discussion. Okay, thank you. So overall, there are different aspects of physical oceanography. Okay, I have only covered a very small portion of it. Okay, so I will stop here, ready to take a few questions so that I will have some discussion being generated out of this webinar. Thank you.
So thank you very much, sir. Now it's time for interaction. All of you can ask directly to Dr. Vijit your clarifications or your questions.
So good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you for your excellent presentation, sir. Regarding ocean.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So my question is, how can we assess the wind speed or the wind direction on oceanic environment? Is there any particular database or software is available for that?
Yeah, so there are different ways of making wind measurements in the ocean. So earlier times there was this was based on rotors. But നമ്മളെ ഒരു rotor പോലത്തെ ഒരു സാധനം ഉണ്ട്. So if the wind speed is high, the rotor will rotate fast. Okay, and the rotation of the rotor is measured and then it is converted into the wind speed. But nowadays, this is more of electronic. Okay, and this is done from ships. So ships have AWS, automated weather systems. And this data is also available online. Some of this data are available online from ships also. I don't know where you might be able to look at institutions, repositories to get the data. Okay, and then there are more advanced way of measuring wind speed, and these are called scatterometers from satellites. Satellite scatterometer. So they send in some microwave signals, okay, and measure the scatter of the signal, and then there are algorithms which will convert the scatter into the wind speed. Okay, so there are scatterometer winds. Okay, so this is done from different platforms, wind measurements.
Thank you, sir. And one more question is there any relationship between oil spilling and temperature in ocean?
I don't know of any relationship between oil spill and temperature, but oil spill is an important concern nowadays. So there's ships, they transport oil in big container ships, and then when it is spilled, it gets recirculated in the ocean, okay, leaving a layer which will inhibit the penetration of light.
Right.
Okay, and then it causes havoc to the organisms that are living. So it's a big concern nowadays. And the ocean is, you have to study the circulation of the ocean and the mixing. Okay, unless you study how the water is circulated and mixed, you will not be able to come up with restoration plans. So that's an important part.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. So I think I have a comment here from Shahin Shahjahan. Is there any software for identifying the salinity level in the ocean? എന്തെങ്കിലും സോഫ്റ്റ്വെയർ ഉണ്ടോ എന്നാണ് ചോദിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത് salinity കണ്ടുപിടിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്. Okay, so salinity, so how do you measure salinity? So there are different ways you can measure salinity. So earlier times, earlier times, okay, not me, some earlier historic times, you collect some sample of water, dry, evaporate the water away, and then measure the amount of salt that is remaining after evaporating the entire water. Okay, that's how in the earlier times salinity was measured. But later, the chemists, they do some titration. Okay, they assume that there is only chlorine chlorine is contributing to the salinity, okay, and the rest of the ions can be expressed as some ratio of chlorine, okay, and then they titrate against the silver nitrate solution to get the chlorine ion concentration, and that's how the salinity was measured in 1900s. Okay, but nowadays more advanced technologies are available, and instruments, they measure the conductivity of the ocean or of the water. Okay, the more ions are there, the more the water can conduct electricity. Okay, so conductivity is proportional to the concentration of the ions present in the water. Okay, so nowadays conductivity is used to measure the salinity. Okay, and then there are softwares. So Shahin is asking about softwares. Okay, there are softwares that can convert the conductivity to salinity. Okay, so there are algorithms which will convert the conductivity ratios to salinity. Okay, so I think I have answered. Anything else?
Any questions? If there are no more questions.
Sir, what condition will occur when the V4 kill is 11?
No, I didn't get the question.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, my question is, what will be the condition when the Beaufort scale is 11?
Yeah, when Beaufort scale is 11, so I actually did not speak about Beaufort scale, okay? So B4 scale is a scale to measure the oceanic condition. So B4 scale is 11 means it will be really rough. Okay, so that is like a cyclone condition, severe cyclone condition. So the waves will be like 10 to 12 meters high. Okay, so things like that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so I have another question from Shahin. I just asked like Modis or Bhuvan like database which provides salinity level. Yeah, so these are there are satellites that can record and transmit salinity. So there are there is a satellite like known as SMOS, SMOS. Okay, that is operational by NASA. I don't think MODIS is another satellite for people who don't know. Okay, so it's the name of a satellite that is developed by NASA to measure the ocean color. Okay, so there are you can just check for satellite named SMOS. Okay, SMOS will give you salinity. Okay, so anything from the student side? I'm looking forward to some questions from the department students. Okay, zoology department students. Yeah, your questions can be simple, so I appreciate whatever is being put forward. Okay. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണമെങ്കിൽ മലയാളത്തിലും ചോദിക്കാം. Okay, it's okay with me. I was forced to talk in English because there were people who are not familiar with Malayalam. Okay, so if there is nothing else, I will hand over the session to Selvan sir. Thank you.
Okay, then if there are no more questions, let us wind up the session.
Okay.
So, on behalf of the Marathanesius College and Department of Zoology, I extend heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Vijit, who really had a very informative talk. It was interesting too, and his impressive voice and his slides were very well prepared and they are self-explanatory. So on behalf of all participants, I extend heartfelt gratitude to you, sir. We expect your personal interaction after this corona pandemic. We'll definitely invite you to our institution and we'll make to interact with our students. So thank you very much. And I also thank all the participants. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes, yes. Okay, I am interested in visiting the department and personally interacting with all of you. Okay, so I look forward to it.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I also take this opportunity to thank all the participants, the students and other research scholars and resource persons from other sister institutes. Thank you, one and all. Thank you very much.
Okay. So I wish all the best to the webinar and also to the department in all their endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, let us wind up.